Hey, good morning, Mark. This is a quick demo video for you for your Luke V2. This is installed with the CFX that you wanted. It's got the sloth furnace clamp card here, which has your two switches underneath it. So your front switch over here will be your power. Your back will be your auxiliary. There's two tactile switches located under there. You sent me the boot stud, so I put that on there for you. I also took the greebly that was on here originally and bagged it up. I'll make sure that it goes out with your Saber, although I will say this will not fit anymore. I had to open up the hole on the Saber in order to fit the boot stud in. So I had to open up the hole on the Saber and cut the boot stud down a little bit so it did not protrude into the diameter of the Saber, because this is how you get to your board. You just unscrew the pommel area right here. All right, so you'll notice when you take this off, it's not all the way inside of the piece. It sticks up a little bit right there. All right, and that is because there needed to be clearance for this lip right here. So when this is screwed on, this sits flush with this piece right here. All right, but when you get to this area right here, you've got a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker, and this is fully enclosed, so the Saber sounds really good. If you look in here, you've got your CFX board right there. So you've got access to your micro USB, but then also your SD card is very easy to get in and out just with a pair of tweezers. You can pop it out with your finger, but you will need a pair of tweezers to pull it out. I updated the board to 10.007 firmware. I think it's the most up to date. I haven't checked that in about a month or so, and they're always updating. So it does have gesture controls. You can just hold down a button and hit the Saber to change sound fonts, and I'll show you how to do all that. All right. But when you don't want to get to your board, you never even have to take this off. So we just put this back on here. There were no grub screws on this Saber for chassis retention. I didn't want to drill anything, so what I did was I made this chassis a very tight press fit into the Saber. It's not going anywhere on you. All right. You've got a shadow foil props PCB in here for your lit Neopixel connector, so we'll light that up here in a second. It's in a very low profile holder. It's the lowest profile I could get into this, and it holds a blade very well. This blade socket is actually very tight. I'm using my test blade, and when I put it in here, I kind of have to twist it in. I don't have to use the blade retention because it holds it so well, and this has been sanded a little bit. So if you have a brand new blade, you'll definitely want to do some sanding. All right. For a battery, you want to take your grenade section off. So you and I spoke about a removable battery. When you take this off, you've got a blade side, or this is not a blade side PCB. I'm using the Smuggler's Outpost Switch Pixel PCB set. So I could have used just a normal blade side PCB and a 7-pin connector here. I don't have any of those in house. I have some on order, so I use what I had. All right, so this would typically be a 14-pin PCB system, but as you can see, there are 3 pins not being used, so I didn't put them in there. These would be typically the pins used for your switches, so a power switch, an aux switch, and the common ground. That's not what I'm using because the switches are back here. That's why those aren't in there. All right, but here's your chassis. You've got a removable battery. Got some greeblies here on the side just for a little visual effect for you, so it wasn't so plain. And then, of course, all your wiring is hidden inside of the battery compartment. So we'll get a battery over here. Spring side is your negative. So I'm saying that in every video. Spring side is in here. That's the negative side of your battery. All right, so throw a battery in. Got the boot up sound. We can go ahead and throw our grenade section on. Now you got 2 ways to turn the Saber on. You can hit power. And hold it to turn it off. Or if you don't want to hit power, you can twist it on. And then you can twist it off. Just like that. All right. I'm going to use my test blade like I was saying. And it is a tight blade socket. So if you have to twist your blade into the Saber, twist it to the right as if you're tightening it. And if you want to twist it again to take it out, also twist it to the right. Because your emitter right here is screwed on to the rest of the neck, right? I twisted it as hard as I could, trying to make sure it was tight. But if you have a lot of pressure in this guy, and you're twisting to the left, you could loosen that, and that's not what you want to do. So just make sure you twist it to the right, and you'll be okay. But we got that blade in there. I'll turn this light off, hit power.
Spectrum.
We'll change color to a green. Now I did that by when the blade is on, I held down auxiliary and I twisted my wrist. You'll hear spectrum, and then you can twist the saber to whatever color you like, and then when you find a color, just tap power and it locks that color in. We do the same way for blade effects. You have several different blade effects on here. You would again hold down the auxiliary button and twist your wrist, but then keep the button held down until you hear blade profiles. We'll do that right now. Keep holding it.
Blade profiles.
Blade profiles. Right now, again, you can get that blade in the camera, but you can twist, and every time you hear it click, it's a different blade profile, or it's a different blade effect. That one's a kind of an unstable blade, so when you find one you like, just tap power. All right. So now what we've done is we've locked in that green color and that kind of unstable effect. It also has that nice bright flash when it ignites. So it might be hard to see on the blade, but hopefully you can see that on my hand, or maybe on my shirt, right? Twist function happens when you're twisting it to the right. So if you're holding it like this and the blade is facing out that way, you twist it to the right to turn it on, and you twist it to the right to turn it off. All right. Now, to trade sound fonts, you do not have to go into the sound bank menu. What you do is you just, when the saber's off, hold down the power button and hit the saber.
Nebula.
We just traded sound fonts there. We can do it again.
Nebula.
Again.
Gray meat.
Right? And of course, Blaster Bolts is tapping the auxiliary. And Blade Lockup is holding it down. And if you don't like the twist functions, you can take that off. This just has the stock font package on it. But you can just use the buttons, right? So power, aux, tap power again and turn off. Just like that. All right, so we'll go ahead, just like that. So we'll take the blade out. Remember, twisting to the right. Come over here and unscrew our grenade section. Careful not to drop it. Take that right out. You should be able to come over here from the positive side by these pins and pop it out with your finger. It is a little bit tight, but it's easy enough to do with your finger. All right. And then when we're done, of course, I'll just throw this back on for safekeeping. And that is basically your Luke V2. This is a very cool looking saber. It's between this saber and probably the Creepy Uncle is my two favorite Luke sabers. But I like this saber a lot when it has the stenciling on it and the tape and everything. It just looks really cool. But anyway, I hope that you like the way that this came out. Let me know if you have any questions. And I will try to get this out in the mail to you by today, but definitely by tomorrow. All right. Thanks, man.